What is up, guys? Back for another video, and in this video, I'm going back to a familiar place that I really love, going to Big Cherokee up in North Carolina. So the last video, it was just kind of talking about my time at Murphy, and this is in Cherokee, about an hour farther from me than Murphy is. But yeah, here's some beautiful views, and this is taking place during the World Series of Poker, the Wsop, if you will. And yeah, my buddy Josh decided to drive us up. And of course, whenever there's a free ride and a free room, I'm not going to turn down some good poker, especially when there's going to be a lot of friends there. So yeah, really, I was really excited to get up there, fire in a tournament, probably just a nightly though, because I think I'm better in cash, to be honest with you. I think tournaments are very tough. But the first hand of the night, or first hand of the vlog, is going to be Queen 10 offsuit. I literally had just sat down at the table, and in this hand, I believe I was in the cutoff position, and there was a early position raised to 25 and two callers. So finishing up the action, I feel like I'm getting a good price here. So I am going to probably make a pretty loose call with Queen 10, and I call the 25. And the flop is pretty awesome. 10, 10, 9, rainbow. Of course, there are some draws, I guess, like Queen Jack maybe. But action, the player is going to lead into the field. So the pre-flop raiser leads into the field for 30. And there's going to be two folds. When it gets to me, I'm just going to call. There's no reason to raise here. Because if he does have a hand like Queen Jack and he does make a pair, then I could make a boat potentially. But the turn is a king of diamonds. Still not really scared, so I still have trips with technically a gut shot. I don't really think, maybe he has ace king. I'm hoping he's got ace king here and he hits top pair with a good kicker. But still not really scared. He checks to me, and I'm going to play this kind of sneakily, I guess, and I'm going to check back, acting like that king that I don't like it. And the river is amazing. The Queen of Hearts, and he's going to bet just $15 into me, and which is kind of crazy considering the pot, very, very small. So I don't want to lose him. I feel like he's got a really bad hand, so I'm just going to raise him to 45. I don't think I can go much bigger because what is he going to call me with? He does end up making the call after tanking for a second, and he shows Queen 9 for two pair, really a counterfeit two pair. But yeah, I won the first hand of the session, and always very happy to win that, especially when I make a long trip up here. So not bad. So yeah, this hand pretty much played itself. I had ace king offsuit. There was a straddle by a very, very loose player. I don't know if you could even call him aggro. I think he was just in the mood to gamble, but he's a nice guy. Nothing wrong with that. So after there's a couple limps, I raised the action to 30. He jammed for 92. Action folded back to me, and I called pretty standard call, pretty standard stuff. Flops an ace, which was awesome. He said ace is good. He said ace was good before, but then the turn comes, river comes. He says ace no good, and he showed a5 of spades, and he won. So yeah, unfortunate to lose there, but I will always take a flip when I have ace king. All right, so trying to redeem ace king, but this time in the suited variety of hearts. There's a $6 straddle, and I'm under the gun +1, so I'm going to bump it up to 20. And I get a few calls, actually. I guess I don't mind taking ace king 4 or 5 ways, but not super strong, especially when the flop is extremely bad. I don't even know if you call it bad, just dry. Jack 6 deuce rainbow. There is a heart, which is good. There's some backdoor potential. Because I'm the pre-flop aggressor and this table is pretty passive, I'm going to go ahead and lead out for 30, especially considering I've got 2 overs and a whole lot of backdoor equity. I lead for 30, and I get a call by an older woman to my right. She's in position. I'm under the gun +1. Actually, sorry, technically she was out of position. I was under the gun +1, and she was in the big blind. So because she had checked to me, I guess my read was that she must not have a pair, because typically at these tables with tighter players, they'll just lead out into you. So I already don't like it whenever she calls, but turns a king, so really awesome to be bluffing and get there with top pair. I guess I had got 2 calls, and that's why it's 190. But regardless, now that I have a strong hand, I'm actually going to bet it. And in game, she actually had bet into me for $25, which is kind of crazy. I think I can just call here. I don't want to raise. I want to let her keep bluffing, considering I make top pair. And I know that it's not a lot of money. I could probably raise. I don't really know. I guess I'm either way ahead or way behind, as they say. Maybe she's got king jack. Maybe she's got a jack. I don't know. But I just called. Don't want to scare her. And the river is, I mean, it's pretty awesome. It's an ace. She's going to bet for 25, and I definitely don't tank in game. I just call. You may be wondering, you can definitely raise there. I mean, what's calling? Jack 10 is just going to fold. I think King 10 is going to fold. The only thing that realistically is going to call me is better, like a set or maybe a straight. I don't think low-stakes players really bluff, so when she bets for 25, unfortunately, I don't get thin value. I just call, and she's very surprised when I turn over ace-king, and she's like, what are you betting on the flop? And I'm like, well, I've got to bet, my entire range, especially when I'm the pre-flop aggressor. Sorry, I yawned during that. But yeah, I win. Pretty standard stuff. Maybe I could have got more. Just you comment down below if I should have bet. So yeah, sorry if the pot was wrong in that last hand. But regardless, I had just won a big hand. I had 3 deuce offsuit, and player bet for 11, and there was 2 calls. And like I said, if I'm typically closing the action, I'm going to call a whole lot wider. At this point, I was in the big blind, so I was closing the action for $8 more. I called, and I checked in the dark, and it came pretty awesome. Came deuce 3-4, so I flopped bottom 2, and this board should never favor the pre-flop aggressor, because this is the 3 lowest cards, unless he's maybe got like an open pair like 5, 6s, 7s, 8s, or whatever. But he actually bet for 30, and action folded back to me, and I'm not going to set off any alarm bells. There's no flush draw. I think he's either way behind. I think he's just way behind. Even aces is behind here. So I'm just going to cold call the $30 bet. Not trying to set off any alarms. I want to let him continue to bluff if he's bluffing, and I want him to continue to bet worse hands if that's what he's doing with anything like aces, kings, queens, jacks. Not really afraid of any turn except for like a 5 or an ace. And I get the miracle, not even a miracle, I just get the overkill 3 of spades. And I bowed up on this, and same thing. I'm going to check and let him bet worse. If he has ace-king, he was just going to fold if I don't get into him, hoping that he's got an overpair. But I checked to him, and he's going to bet one more time for $30, I believe it was, in-game. And same thing, guys. A lot of players just want to raise here, and I guess I could, but at this point, why would I? The only thing he could maybe he's got some overpairs, but what am I raising with? So I decide just to cold call one more time, looking to check raise on the river, just because maybe he puts one more miracle bluff. And the river is an inconsequential jack of diamonds. I was not scared of this in game. Quite literally, I'm just going to let him continue to bluff or bet worse, like aces, kings, or queens. I think that aces could maybe go for another bet here, thinking I've got a hand like, 4 or 5 that missed and just doesn't believe him. But I check, looking to check raise. If he goes for like 50, I'm going to raise it up to 150, 175 for a pot size bet. But he doesn't buy it. He checks behind. He was bluffing. And of course, I'm good with my full house. Maybe you let me know next time. Maybe I can bet small. I don't know how you guys would play it, but please just comment down below if you bet small here, or if I did the right thing looking to check raise. I really don't know in this spot. All right, guys. So, yeah, just playing pretty standard. In this hand, I have ace-queen offsuit. I'm under the gun +1. I raise $20 and get 3 calls. And the flop came queen high, so pretty awesome stuff. And I make top pair. There's a flush draw out there. I do have the ace of spades in my hand, but regardless, I'm going to bet. And I go about half pot size here for $30, and I get 1 called. So in game, I think just way ahead, probably going against flush draws, maybe sometimes an open-ender, 7-9 or something like that. Turn is an ace, and at this point, I feel very confident. I think all sets would have raised on the flop. 2 pair is no longer good for my opponent. 2 pair, I have the best 2 pair, top 2. So I'm going to bet for $40 more, and the only player that's left is, I wouldn't call him a fish or even aggressive. I don't know. When he sat down, he only had played 4 or 5 hands. He seemed like he was pretty solid player. But I bet 40, and he's going to think about it for a little bit, and he's going to end up making the call. So I'm putting him on a combo draw at this point, or maybe just 7-9 for open-ended. A lot of different hands he could have. 7-9 of spades would be amazing, and maybe sometimes could raise here. Obviously, I think all pairs like sixes, any 8x, maybe queens go for a raise to see if I'm full of it. I don't know, but river is the king of diamonds. Nothing I'm really afraid of, but at this point, when action checks to me, I really don't think that I'm going to get anything to call. So one thing I would say here, where some players can lose value or just lose the hand, when you're not going to get called by anything worse, like what really can call me? I don't think maybe ace-5 of spades, but I have the ace of spades, so that's impossible actually. So I'm just going to check back, looking to probably win most likely. I just don't think I can put a river bet because, like I said, I'm not getting called by anything worse. Like, I guess maybe king, queen, but that's kind of optimistic. I don't know. But I check, and he just says that he missed. And obviously my top two, or I guess my ace, queen for two pair is good. And like I said, maybe I can go for another bet. You guys just let me know. Is there thin value to be had? I don't know with a board like this. But next hand. All right, so I know that this next hand I'm going to probably get destroyed in the comments. I call a $16 open with pocket sixes, as do in-game 3 other players. And I was not on the button for this particular hand. I believe I was the big blind. But closing the action with pocket sixes, pretty standard stuff. I call, and I usually check in the dark, but because I'm the big blind, I was unable to. But obviously, we're going to go set mining with these pocket sixes. The pre-flop aggressor is a player who'd been winning a lot. And thankfully, I'm not really scared when the flop comes 6 deuce 3. I flop top set. Pot's not huge, so I guess there's only 2 other callers, pre-flop aggressor plus me and another. So I'm going to check here. Let the pre-flop better do whatever he wants. One thing I tell all my guys that I play with, never just donk lead. Always just check and flow. Let the pre-flop aggressor do his betting. At this point, if he has ace-king, he's probably going to put a c-bet because, I don't know, the board is slightly connected, but when is he ever putting 5-4 or like deuce 3 in someone's range? I think realistically the only hand ace-king could be afraid of, or aces or kings, is my hands particular, but I'm just going to cold call here. He had bet 50, which is a pretty big pot size bet. I just call, and it turns awesome. I boat up, so I'm no longer afraid of any possible straight that he may have had. But same thing, I'm just going to check here. Not necessarily that I'm under-repping anything, but I want to let his bluffs to keep on bluffing. I don't really know what he's putting me on here. Maybe he's putting me on 2 overs that just didn't believe him, and he's going to check back, which I think I probably should have thought more about on the river, and you're going to see what I mean. In game, I actually thought he had a hand like aces or kings, queens or jacks, considering how big his bet was on the flop, but he probably would have bet that one more time on the turn. And I feel really bad because when the river is the ace of spades, I check looking for him to bet, and he bets $100. And this is where things get I feel kind of bad because I should always just snap jam probably. Probably a snap jam, maybe a tank jam. Probably always a raise. I have a full house. But in game, I tank and I tell him that I have a full house, and then I just call him. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah. He showed 5-7 for absolutely nothing. It was just bluffing. So I know in game I could jam and he's just going to fold. I do think that me playing this pretty passively on the flop and turn got me paid on the river. But there's no reason that I need to tank that long. It's fairly simple. I feel kind of bad, but in the past, I just know that low stakes players typically don't bluff. But maybe this guy plays bigger stakes. I don't know, but of course I win a pretty sizable pot. All right, guys. So this is the hand of the night. I'm up pretty big at this point, and I peel the best hand in poker, pocket aces. And one thing I love, I think where people really make or lose money is big folds, right? Because if you're folding, you're not losing, and you've really got to make some big folds to just increase that profit. But the villain in this hand, older gentleman, probably in his, not really older, but mid-50s to late 50s. He said he just busted out of a tournament. And he said these things. He said he lost when he jammed ace king. And when he lost the previous hand, he'd asked me if I had a set after he folded top pair. And I had bluffed that hand. So I was just like, These things, I automatically think that he's a tighter player. He's more of a tournament player, so he's going to play a pretty straightforward range. And the thing about tournament players is they're not bad. They just, in my opinion, they just play too straightforward. So he gave me a lot of credit whenever I had nothing. So keep that in mind. Anyways, I raised pocket aces. I think in game it was either 15 or 20. Looks like given the graphics it was 15 because I was under the gun. And I had two callers. And the flop came king, queen, 4, right? $49 in the pot. Nothing too crazy, right? I love this board. I have an overpair. There's a lot of, I guess there's some draws like Jack 10, King, or other than Jack 10, actually, I guess no draws, no spade draw. But I bet 20, and immediately after I bet 20, there was a player on the button. He jammed for 40, right, which is just a min click. It does open the action. I don't even know what he has. Maybe he has Jack 10, right? But then the villain I told you about, he just jams. So he's the small blind, and he check jams for $350. And you may be wondering, Goose, how could you fold? You have aces. Guys, tournament player is obviously tilted, puts me at top of range, right? So he probably did put me at top of range, and he put me on aces. And he jammed into me. He's never doing this as a bluff. And for me to even make this profitable, it's just insane. I actually fold fairly easy. I showed the aces, and he's disgusted. He's just like, how do you fold that? And here's why. It's just never a bluff. It would have been way better for him probably just a flat call. He wants to keep all my ace, king, aces, ace, queen. When he jams, he's only getting called bet better. So I wanted to take a moment just to talk about this. I think the small blind played this very poorly. I know you're going to say, well, Goose, he won the hand. Well, guys, I have aces. If he flat calls, I'll just lose all my money because the only two hands I can call here is pocket queens and pocket kings, and he's just drawing very, very thin. But yeah, just wanted to include this because it's a learning moment. So yeah, small blind, if you're watching this, not trying to be mean, but just flat call. Let me bet because I'm going to be betting with my overpair. And then I can call everything you put on the river, just because what am I really afraid of? But when you check jam for that huge amount, maybe a year ago I call, but this time I'm going to fold, thankfully. And he let me off the hook there. But anyways, yeah, the session goes, I was in the game for 5, out for 765. I forgot that I'd added on 100 earlier in the session. But yeah, really happy with how I played. Overall, the trip wasn't bad. I did lose in the nightly. But yeah, that's that. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for supporting me. And yeah, I've really been enjoying just uploading these, and I feel like it makes me a better player too. So anyways, much love, guys. Please like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you in the next video.